Hello friend, this is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and today I want to talk to you about how there's no limitation in God's universe. Today I was watching a video of a man harvesting tomatoes from his garden, and he had, at least the ones he showed, he had about 6 or 7 different types of tomatoes, all different, unique, some big, some small, some purple, some orange, some yellow, some green, some red, and the insides were different, and just a wide variety. And this is one of those things, that's one single type of plant, a tomato plant. But there are literally thousands of different variations of tomatoes out there. There's that much of an abundance. And with corn, it's the same way. You go through all kinds of plants, there are generally hundreds or thousands of variations. In animals, it's the same way. And I guess you could obviously carry that over to humans as well. There's such a variety and such an abundance in God's universe that when people look around, they see scarcity, they see lack, they see limitation, they see not enough. They have to understand that that is an erroneous point of view. Now, it may feel correct, it may feel like it's true, but the vast majority of the time, that is because it has been programmed into them by, as they were growing up, their parents told them there wasn't enough. Teachers told them there was a lack. They told them, I remember as a kid being told, you better eat all your food in your plate because there's starving kids in Africa. As if the food on my plate, if I would have not eaten it, was going to somehow go and help them. Of course it wasn't. But the idea was that you have enough and they don't, so you better eat it because there's scarcity. They have limitation over there. They have lack over there. There's not enough for them. There's enough for you. But this worldview is completely wrong. Yes, there are countries where people are suffering. They don't seem to have enough. But there's a whole lot of steps that got them to that position. And that's a whole nother issue. But I'm telling you point blank, there's not a limitation. There's not lack. And let's just say for the sake of discussion that you live in an area where there's lack. You live in the desert. There's not enough water most of the time. Well, God gave you a brain. He gave you common sense and wisdom to learn to move. Oh, my area is not sufficient for my needs. This should not be my area anymore. I need to move to a better area. And of course, even in deserts, there generally comes short periods, maybe a few days a year, where it's just a flood of rain. So you could theoretically prepare and plan for those few days to gather a lot of water and be self-sufficient for the rest of the year. There's a way, even in that perceived limitation, to make a way. If you want to, and you use God's wisdom, you can do that. And the same thing applies to any country where there's limitation and lack, where people talk about limitation and lack. There is a way. Maybe those particular people haven't found it for whatever reason, but there is a way, and there is more than enough, or there can be more than enough if the proper actions are taken. You know, Proverbs talks many times about the person who is a sluggard. And he's a little slumber, a little sleep. He's just sleeping, he's relaxing. He doesn't go and harvest when he's supposed to, so his crops die in the field. He doesn't tend to his field, so he didn't get a good harvest. He's doing all the things wrong when he has available to him an abundance. But because he doesn't do enough, because he doesn't put in the effort, he doesn't have the harvest that he wants. And he goes begging to his neighbors for food because he hasn't done the proper work to get the proper result. And I'm going to tell you, if you will put in the effort, intelligently working, hard work, that is, but done intelligently, and you're taking the opportunities given to you, and you're making moves when you need to make them, and you're taking massive action, God will provide for all your needs and wants. There'll be no limitation in your life. And this is something people don't want to hear. They don't like it, but it's true. If there is a continual lack, a continual limitation, continual want in your life, the only person who the blame falls on is yourself. Now, I don't like to use the word blame, but let's just be blunt. If you want to call it what it is, it's blame. But the reality is you have to be responsible. And the most successful people I've known in my life have always been people who took responsibility. Even when somebody else did something against what they were planning, but that person took responsibility for the other person's actions because they put that person in charge of something, or because they allowed that other person to have authority in that situation. So in the end, they still took responsibility for the other person making the mistake. And that is something that people can't understand many times. It is a radically different way of looking at things, but when you look at things that way, you take responsibility for your life. You stop trying to find someone to blame it on, except for yourself. And you really even shouldn't be blaming yourself. You should be taking responsibility. Okay, the other person did this to you. Other person did that bad thing. Okay, I'm responsible for that. Wow, that's a bold thing to say. But if you'll do that, and you'll mean it, and you'll start taking action on the things that you have control over, stop giving other people control of your life who mess things up, and really be responsible and take leadership in your life, stop playing the victim role, you will start to see the abundance of God in your life. You know, God, His Spirit's going to and fro, looking, watching us, being with us, teaching us, leading us, and guiding us. If He can find a person who is willing to be responsible for their lives, willing to take massive action, not looking to cast blame on someone else, not looking to blame God even, or blame the devil, or blame whoever. They just take responsibility and they start making wise decisions and taking massive action. Those people are going to be blessed by God. Those people are going to have an abundance. And I don't care where you live. I don't care what your situation is, what you want to blame for your sad lot in life. If you will start making those kind of decisions, being that kind of responsible person, that kind of person of wisdom and character, and the person who has the vision to see the abundance that is available to them, even if on the surface level reality doesn't appear to be very abundant. But if you'll be that person and stand up with that kind of character, that kind of vision, you will be blessed abundantly, my friend. You will see abundance everywhere you go. You will see, like those tomatoes, that there's 10,000 or so varieties of them. There's just an abundance. And whatever you need in any area of your life, you can have an abundance if you'll do the right things, you'll seek God's wisdom, and you'll act on the wisdom received. You, my friend, will be abundant. And it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what your family situation was growing up, it doesn't matter if you grew up poor, you grew up rich, or you grew up middle class. None of that matters. If you'll be responsible, you'll take action, you will have that mentality of seeing and looking for abundance and opportunity all around you, you, my friend, will experience God's limitless abundance. I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.